Alright, welcome everyone to today's stream. Today things are going to be a little bit different. I normally don't stream on a weekday. I think for me it's getting used to a few new things because baby is teething. I'm just trying to get things sorted out right now. I don't have a lot set up right now for the fact that I normally have a camera over there, but that camera is now kind of like moved because over this last weekend it was just a lot of cleaning. And in doing so, I kind of wanted to showcase, how hardcore am I as a Digimon collector? But also on top of that, it's also a matter of, we've gone through 5 years of Digimon. And I guess a lot of question in people's minds are like, is it worth it to, keep certain cards? Real quick before I move to like the main showcasing of cards, we're gonna highlight some of like my biggest collector pieces in addition to kind of what I do as a collector. Um, but before that, yeah, like I mentioned, if you're interested in this playmat, this new Shadowborn Collector playmat is now publicly available. If you're interested in that, do check out my merch store on the Square site. I know that it's also kind of a rough time for a lot of people out there, so if you don't have the ability to support the channel, please look after yourself. That's one of the big things that I want to make sure that, people are taken care of. But I think everybody wanted to kind of see, like, what does, like, a collector like me really do? Honestly, I collect for everything, and I think that's one of the big things that, as a fan of Digimon, starting off at the very beginning, it was very interesting to see, like, okay, and I'll pull out each of these cards too one by one sometimes if I want to like talk about it, a little bit of the story about it. But like, War Greymon, for example, everybody wanted to play like different, tribal decks. You had Greymon, you had Garurumon. It was all kind of just there, and at the same time, many times like these were expensive for the longest time until they got a reprint as well. And at this point, a lot of players don't really touch a lot of these anymore. Like these Magnamons or Magna Angemons used to be really pricey back in the day because it was the first set. I know Gundam is kind of going through its own kind of thing right now where they don't necessarily have a very adequate supply. New players want to get into the game. New players can't really get into the game because at the same time they don't have the cards. Same thing. People were like, I think at its peak, this Omnimon was going for like, I think like 120, 150, and like at the time, you could if you got it for like 85 or 90, it was a steal because people wanted regular arts just to play Turbo Omnimon. And of course, times change. Like that's one of the big things. In addition to kind of going through like the collection and how like 5 years have really changed in the Digimon card game, I'm also going to be doing a little bit of housekeeping because I think this will be one way to force me to kind of get my like desks and tables and shelves all cleaned up of loose cards here and there, and you'll kind of see what I mean by that when we get to that point. But like I said, like I really enjoyed collecting these at the time that they came out. TKs, ties, those were the big things that every player wanted. I think the only sad thing for me is I wish I had these still in their original wrap, like they were still sealed, if that makes sense, because sealed Digimon for me was really important. And yeah, like it was just crazy to see everybody trying to get certain cards like the Mimi, the TK, and the tie. But of course, all of that changed. Of course, when you slowly migrated through the sets. Holy Wave was another funny one where players eventually were kind of like, hey, this actually might be really good in like security control. But then you notice how like the art shifted into like these like digital coded kind of deal things. I'm just gonna pull out the Shine Greymon because I know like this is where the art has changed substantially for Digimon over time. You have instances where like we have the normal background arts. We also have the type of circuit board kind of styles here that look really cool in terms of textures. But then some players like it, some players don't. I thought it was really cool collecting these at the time. And then moving forward, like BT1 through BT3 overall just felt really fair, minus Turbo Omnimon, of course. But really, once you start moving past like all this stuff, and yeah, my box toppers are a little funky here because I tried to keep everything in sequential order of the numeric set. So this was something that we started doing, my wife and I anyway, just so that we could ensure that everything was ordered correctly. Once we got to BT4, things started getting really interesting in the Digimon card game because of the fact that you had hybrids now. And the Agunimon for a while was also kind of pricey, but it wasn't like crazy. We we still saw that same kind of pattern with like the circuit board in the background, but now it wasn't a circuit board, it was more so like a matrix kind of feel. Let's go ahead and pull out, say, this one here. I'm gonna just pull Greymons for days, because yeah, you can see, like, you know, we go from circuit board to kind of that background here, and players just really enjoyed collecting the different kinds of art. I'll still argue to this day that out of all the card games that I've seen that Bandai has released, I still love the art that Digimon has. And it's not because I'm a little biased for Digimon, it's for the fact that, you know, nothing against Bandai, I think this is reasonable in many ways. Like, One Piece has a lot of screen cap art. Union Arena also has a lot of screen cap art, and it's not bad, it's just easy for production's sake. Luckily for this set, this is where I was able to keep a lot of my tamers sealed still. So BT1 through BT3 was where I was kind of like, dang it, I can't get sealed tamers for this. But this was also fun for the first time because in BT4 we're introduced to the triptych of cards. So as you can see with this one here, if you were to take all these out here and combine them, you could create murals or arts. So let me see if I can do this well on camera here. So you're gonna combine these yonder here, and this is where kind of like the idea of like dual card could be like this. Dual card could kind of be like, this is kind of rough, but I think I got it, yeah. Like, having this as like a dual card would be very interesting, and that's where it was just a really cool concept and theme to make it really good for not only people who can appreciate Digimon itself, but also art. I'm not going to say I'm like an art enthusiast or fanatic, but I will say that the art for this game just slaps sometimes. BC5 is where they start doing all sorts of like combined art kind of deal things. And I don't know if Bandai is necessarily going to do this for like dual cards. You can kind of see it. It was kind of a mess to try to get this in the collection as well, because it was crazy. And V-Passion, thank you so much for the call out. I really appreciate it. And thanks for joining tonight's stream. It's a pleasure, sir. It's a pleasure. We also got... Ultimately, I think BT5 was another like big cornerstone for Digimon because we were introduced to new effects like Blitz. I think that was the first time where, you know... Actually, not really the first time, because if you go back to BT4, actually, thank you, Chaosmon. Chaosmon was one of the first Digimon that unsuspended itself, and then it can attack your opponent's Digimon. It wasn't into your opponent's security per se, but it was one of the first ways that you could attack at end of turn. Same thing with Blitz Omnimon, you had ways to kind of just go for game through that method. Box stoppers, I know Ratas were like really pricey for a little bit because everybody wanted these to max for either Diabormon decks. Nokias were kind of, you know, sought after for a little bit too when CS Nokia was released, and then we had CS Omnimon decks. But still, like, it's interesting to go back and look at all these old cards, and this is the first time I've looked at these types of cards in a while, where I really had to ask myself, was it worth spending all this money to get this collection at the beginning? And arguably, I would say that, you know, there were lessons learned from BT1 through BT4 where it was kind of like, oh no, like, this card is going to be very rare or hard to find. And then, you know, it tanked. Like, I think pre-release Chaosmons were like $50 at one point, and then I think today now they're like $1, maybe $2 at most. But even then, like, it was just crazy. But yeah, accelerating forward a little bit, this is where we first saw Jesmon. I know Jesmon's really popular right now, and it's really funny to kind of go back and look at, you know, how this card has evolved through the sands of time, right? Like, you have this Jesmon when attacking. If you may play one Digimon card with Sistermon and same from your hand or trash without paying the cost. And then when you play Digimon, this Digimon gets plus 3000 DP and piercing for the turn. So, like, it was one of those that helped you, but also you wished it had Blitz. And that's why I really like how throughout the times of the Digimon card game now, Bandai has slowly combined cards from previous sets and kind of made them all one conglomerate kind of deal. But yeah, I mean, BT6, there wasn't really much else to like look at. I know other than the Sistermons, the Sistermon Seals, there wasn't really anything crazy except for the first chase card. This is where the blue, white, red Omnimon was one of the first things to like make its appearance as the first chase card of the Digimon card game. And I think like back in the day, it was like 1 in 10 cases or something ridiculous like that. It was hard to find these. And insanely enough, I picked up 4 of these just because I'm a collector. So yeah. But that's the end of the first binder. And keep in mind, I am a playset collector through and through, so I really enjoy the playsets. I don't really know how else to describe it. But the big ones will be coming at the end, because I know a lot of players might be interested in that kind of deal. I'm going to move these boxes over here, because I'm going to need those for later. I'm also going to go through like antiquated super rares kind of deal to figure out, you know, what is no longer needed. And I'm just dropping all sorts of stuff right now. I'll just drop tape. Okay, we're good. After BT6, this is where we started migrating towards EX1. EX1 was probably the first set that a lot of players really hated. It was a love and hate kind of deal where, you know, we had these reprints. We had Upamon reprints. We had the Phoenixmon reprint, Digimon. None of these cards are used anymore, by the way. Even the Vmon that was really popular for a little bit isn't used anymore. Memory Fixer Terriermon might have been probably the only one that was still played. And I think to this day, like, a lot of players, you know, have become more aware of like when to jump on prices and when to like back off. Ah, this Terriermon, so cute. Back in the day, like, people wanted this. But the thing is, like, once you get into like later sets, like EX1 for example, it was one of those weird sets that was really hit or miss. Like, nobody really cared about EX1. It was a set that largely sat in a lot of store shelves for a little bit because nobody really wanted it. It was that horrendous. Nothing was really insanely powerful, and only until recently did this Metal Garurumon see a spike, but only because of gas. Gas was the first time we would ever see, like, you know, the resurgence of something from EX1 really take off. And people were asking themselves, is this really, like, valuable? Is it worth it? Analog use were one of the bigger things, too, in that players really wanted this analog youth. This was the max rarity analog youth of the time, and at the same time, it's really cool. Like, it's an old art style. I think Kenji did this one. Yeah, it's Kenji Watanabe. And then following that, like, people just kept going. Like, people just wanted to get to faster game states. BT7 didn't really give us that either, I feel like, because a lot of players were kind of like, why is your cover card Metal Greymon when you're really after hybrids? So at that point, it was just interesting for players to really, you know, pursue that. And I think Alphamon was one of the big ones too. This Dorumon is still one of my favorite cards. I really like how... Who drew this? Sasasi? So yeah, I really enjoyed these. And a lot of these have just sat in my binder for ages. Like, they are just collecting right now. Like, I'm pretty much just at the point where, you know, I'll sit on the collection, I'll enjoy it. I've got my, you know, all my Tamers sealed. I've got all my Lucimons, everything. BT8 was one of the weird sets where, like, it felt kind of powerful, but it wasn't, like, crazy. Like, you got your Magnamons that players wanted for Magnamon X. You've got your Black War Greymons for the Greymon decks. And I'm just at the point where I don't think Greymon's going to perform for a bit until there's something more. And I'll cover a topic on that in itself later. Chimeramon is the big one today, where some players are using it, some players aren't using it. I've been tinkering around with a few other decks lately that might use it, but at the same time, I don't run it just because we're going for speed, baby. And then, ending with this binder, it took us to EX2. Now, EX2 was one of the other sets where it wasn't insanely overpowered, and a lot of the cards in the set have either been power crept or kind of phased out or irrelevant at this point. Like, this Geekymon is probably the only egg that's usable at this point because you don't suspend your opponent's Digimon the effect anymore. It's more so you want, if you have a green tamer, you can do stuff with it. The Vixdemon might be used in Sakuyamon decks, but with that Amethyst Mandala starter deck, a lot of that is potentially changing. So, not really much though. Like, even the Guilmon, like, Gallenmon and Megidramon players don't even run this anymore because there's no need to. You have newer Guilmons that can either cycle or surge with the Guilmon X. And of the Gallenmons, your newer Gallenmons are just so much better. Same with Megidramons. Sakuyas, yeah, those have been power crept too. Digimon had a lot of issues, and I think it's still a little bit in the water at this point. I think you have to CS slop it to really give it some advantage here. And then, of course, Beelzemon, one of my favorite arts. Man, I can't believe it's been so long since I've looked at these cards because, like I said, a lot of my collection kind of just, once I finish the binder, it goes sitting in a place where I just let it sit. It doesn't, like, this art is so cool to me. And yeah, that finishes up all the way up to EX2. EX2, probably one of my favorite sets to open, just because I really liked Tamers as a kid. And even now, like, it's still one of my favorite Digimon series to watch. Alright, we're now moving into post EX2. Wait. Isn't there a Chase? No, it's BT7. Where did I put the Alpha? Must be somewhere else in the collection. So we finished the Tamers. I think I moved him here because I just want to keep all the Digimon in one spot. BT9. Oh man, this set was so great. It was so fun. Like X Evolution introduced for the first time, I definitely loved everything they did with it. Agumon X has been power crept a few times. I'm surprised we don't have a red-black one, but we got a blue-purple Gabu X. Just a damn shame, really. Same with a Wargrey X. Like, I would love to see another Wargrey X. But, like, again, like, you don't really play much of these anymore. You don't play the Metal Garurumon X's because Garurumon's kind of not doing well on its own set of protection and rules. Magnamon X Antibody, of course, has been power corrected by the newer Magnamon X, and Grandis Kuwagamon kind of needs a new Grand Kuwagamon to really be a contender. You can go over the Ace variant, but I know the most popular one was the promo. Outside of that, Gaiamon's still good for like Greymon decks if you're playing Greymon. It's not as easy to use it though, because I think the newer Gaiamons provide you the ability to unsuspend your opponent's Digimon and then raid into them. Piercing, extra DP, you name it. The Dex cards, you're also going to probably spin to the SOC at this point. It's just... Death X-Mons. I remember when these were like super stupid pricey. Back in the day, right? Back in the day. People wanted these, and I think at the time, like, Death X-Mons were like 120, 150, whatever, and they were comparable in prices now to, like, the medieval Gallantmons, I feel like. But medieval Gallantmons are just super strong. I think BT10 was probably one of my, like, sets that I didn't really care too much about. A lot of people probably just got it for, like, the waifus, the Sakuyamon maid modes, the Venusmons. People just loved these two cards. Like I said, artwork in the Digimon card game is peak. 10 out of 10. Like, who does not like the art? Do I have all of them? I have a lot of these cards. Like every binder that I'm going to be showing off tonight is going to be a completed binder. Because, yeah, man, this Omnimon X used to be like the perfect finisher, and now it's like, forget about it. You got the Liberator X Omnimon. It's all good. There it is. There's my gold alphas. So yeah, this is the next chase card that was revealed after the blue, red, white Omnimon. This is where you had the gold Alphamon, and I'm not gonna lie, I really like the design. I like it, but it's not the best alpha, and there's still like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the deck is stupid powerful, but at the same time, like, a lot changed. These were the reprint cards from like one of the other stuff. I think in BT11 it was. Yeah, it was in BT11. We got these reprints of these older cards, and then as a result, we move into EX3. No, wait, it was EX3. Yeah, Dragonic Roar gave us those cards. It was like the illustrator cards. Honestly, EX3 was one of my least favorite sets to open, and I'm gonna just skip this page just so I don't get demonetized, but yeah. You got yourselves the classic Imperialdramon Dragon modes, which are now super useful for the fact that, you know, people are playing Red Purple Imperialdramon. It's one of the better cards to use to climb into your stack, though the Blast mode is still good for, you know, as a backup just in case. BT11, the good old Mirage Galgamon. Everybody remembers this guy, right? Everybody remembers Mirage Galgamon. Cards in hand, memory. Sad. The Angelomons also were really good. I think DT11 was a really good, strong set too because you had Mirage, Ulforce, Angelomon, you had Black Warcry, Lady Devi, Merva, and I think that covers it for like the good alt arts until you get to like Yuya, Mirai, and Rina Shina, Mia? I think it's, yeah, Mia. Rina Shina Mia. It's been a while since I've said it, and I don't want anyone to jump on my pronunciation. And then of course, my first, like, the gold cards for this set were kind of a pain in the butt to get. Like, BT11 was probably one of the most challenging sets to open to get a playset of these. These were just hard to get. Because of the fact that like the Ulforce was like 20 bucks, but then Mastamon was like 120, and then the Machinedramon was like 122. So you're kind of like, okay, two really good ones, garbage. I still do not know why to this day. The Ulforce Feedramon was reprinted. I could not understand why. It was funny in some ways, but I was also kind of like, really? Like, you picked the worst one of them all. And then, of course, we had the next reprint sets. There was someone, I read somewhere that someone who was a huge fan of Tyrannomon was like bragging about how they got their fan base to manipulate the polls to reprint the Metal Tyranno, the Rust Tyranno, and I think like HPD or something. But like, I was a fan of the Eosmons, the Commandras, the Dories, the Gazis. Good times. And then, of course, we finish it up with some art cards. So, like I said, BT11 was probably like one of the biggest hits for me in that it not only had your alt arts, but it also had the limited foil common uncommon kind of deal going. That was the first time we got that. The execution was odd though, in that it ate up a rare slot, and in my mind they should have just kept like your 2 rare slots and then the slot immediately before that being your rare limited common uncommon. That would have been like the perfect way to do it. So, I do not have 50 copies of Eosmon, I'll tell you that right now. At that time, I considered it, but no. Never again. So, moving on. We finished BT11. We're now moving slowly into the next set. This is where we had the collector arts, the illustrator pack still, but we got to BT12. You know, looking back at these sets, it makes me think of the times where Digimon were kind of like the core, like, presence of, like, what the set was supposed to be about. You had Ulforce X, you had Gallantmon, Emperor Greymon. Red Hybrid was smoking in BT12. War Greymon also was really fun as well. And then Bielsa X was really doing work. Shine Gray was also doing work for, I think there were a lot of viable decks. Arrestdramon. This was the first time where we had a lot of tamers, and I think this is where some players started getting to the point where, you know, this is a lot of tamers for the set. Today, now we get super rare tamers, because these are still the rares, and they're not, like, crazy. I think our first super rare tamer was Mirai Mikagura, with the secret being Rina Shinamiya. And then, of course, we had this is where BT12 offered not just one chase, but we had 3 chases. So we got ourselves the Darkness Boggermon. We have the Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior Mode Gold variants. These were the chase cards of the time, and I don't know, like, I think they were just like also really super cheap for what they were meant to be. Give you a close-up of the Bogger here. Darkness Bogger. It's kind of a washed-out silver. And on the other side, we got ourselves the Shoutmon Cross 7 Superior Mode Gold Foil. Yes, this is Coco Berry. This is my collector binder. So I have an individualized binder for every one of my core sets, side sets, all that's downstairs. So I think I'm upwards at like 36, 40 binders at this point. But yeah, this is also where we got the Omnimon, the Blitz ones. And by the way, quick segue and off topic, but if you are in North America, and you are able to like go outside right now, it should be dark enough at this point, but do keep in mind that there is like an Aurora Borealis going on right now, and if you've never seen them before, go outside with your phone and just look through like the camera, and you should be able to see some awesome northern light effects. Just wanted to put that out there before anyone else misses that opportunity, because I think tonight is the last night that's going to be available. And I've been to Iceland, I've seen the Northern Lights, I saw them with the wife yesterday, and it was just beautiful. So if you haven't checked that out, I do suggest, going outside for a little bit and just taking your camera with you and just seeing it on maximum exposure. Alright, Omnimon, yeah, this was another hard one to get. This is kind of the old classic Hyper Coliseum motif of stylized art. I'm still not a fan of these. They've reused this art several times already. I'm not a fan. When they reuse assets from like cards or like Hyper Coliseum, I'm kind of like, it takes the appeal away. That's just me though. For some people, they're like, classic look, I'm in. So, yeah. And then of course the box stoppers from BT12. And the next kind of Dookie set, EX4. EX4 was one of the sets that I looked at it, I was kind of like, I don't really like anything in this set, but I'm still going to collect a 4 of everything. Dang it, Bandai, you got me there. We kept going with it, like, Kazumon was like really powerful in Sakuyamon decks, now it's limited. The Shadow Serafi, kind of cool, but at the same time, it's kind of like, you have an Ace variant now that does way more than it. And then this is where they first introduced Omnimon Alter S. I mean, it wasn't like crazy. Looking at Ravemon, I'm kind of like, I want more Ravemon support. Ravemon, honestly, a fun deck. I wish they did more for it. Data Squad, though, we're getting more support for that soon because, when I turn this page, boom, this is where we're hitting all the expensive cards. So number 1, we're going to have the Shine Greymon Ruin Modes. These were the first, next big thing. I know a lot of players hate this card. Turbo Ruin Mode is probably one of the things that will ruin a player's day because of, once you get there, now you're just blanket bombing the board. I think if you can somehow bring up Ruin Mode against, like, a Hoodiemon deck, it kind of hoses their strategy because they can promote, but then they'll just die. If you can somehow... See what you can Digimon into it on your opponent's turn, because that'd be crazy as well. But then after, I think this is where the Zord defeat was in BT13. BT13 introduced the first wave of Data Squad cards, and the Shine Greymon Burst Mode. So this is also one that was really confusing because when you were trying to figure out whether this card was a chase card or not, you had to go in real close because a lot of the zoomed in effects, you're basically looking for the digital 1s and 0s in the background, which you can't really see that well from the camera perspective. It's really hard to because it's not going to focus there, but they're like in the background. Same thing with like the Mirage, Galgamon Burst Mode. Same thing, you can see kind of the 0s and 1s in the background. And then of course you have the no one cares about the other two. No one cares about the other two. Oh, this is perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take out this one, and I'm going to take out this one. So this is where it felt kind of cheapened to me in a way, because if you look at these two side by side, it's basically a zoomed in artwork of the other. And at the same time, it wasn't that great of an appeal to me to like collect these, but at the same time, I did it anyway. For the collection, because we love Digimon, and we're going to support Bandai. And then of course, we had Royal Knights. Royal Knights was the first like introduction to like Mega Zoo decks, and it was crazy that you had King Drasil, you had Jessamon, Ganku. All these alt art Royal Knights was just crazy. And moving on and on and on, it just so much bling for players who played this deck. Now the funny thing is, now that we've seen CS Royal Knights, a lot of these actually get replaced, I feel like. Which means like you don't necessarily play these anymore. Like you can play Craniumon now actually, because the CS Craniumon is actually really good. If you were to, and I'm going to skip all these because these are just box toppers, the Omni, also really good. Gallant, choose your poison. You got promo Gallantmon, you've got this Gallantmon, and some players just run medieval Gallantmon. What a time it was. What a time it was. And then moving on, we went to like the Resurgence Booster Pack. I wasn't a fan of this set either, but at the same time, there were a lot of cool arts. I wish Seriesmon got a little bit better, but I haven't playtested the deck too much right now. I'm playing a lot of different decks. There should be a lot of deck profiles coming up in the next like 2 or 3 days. I have 2 or 3 that I've for sure playtested, and I'm happy with the list at this point. I hope you guys enjoy it because they're really simple. Like, it's honestly really simple that I was like, why hasn't no one, like, considered this? I've YouTubed all these deck profiles too, and I'm like, no one's thought about this. Something new. The starter decks, this is where we got the War Greymon Ace. This is where we started getting starter deck chase cards. Why? And honestly, the War Greymon Ace just feels bad to me at this point. Like, we got our Gold Paladin modes. And after that, we just, I don't know. I just don't like this Paladin mode. Everybody likes the newer one so much. Oh, I agree. Daigon Rugen. RB1 was really, it was a good set, but it was poor timing. I will agree to that 100%. So far that's taken us through BT13. We're approaching BT14 now. So this is where we're kind of at the stepping stones of kind of that soft reboot position. And it was crazy. So yeah, BT14 was introducing new things. Let's see. Demon Back 4. I'm really curious as a new player how you feel about EX5 and the Light Claw Night Fang archetype. It's a very abusive engine, very clean, memory efficient. Once you figure out what you want your top end to be, it doesn't matter. That's pretty much all I gotta say about it. Will we get a Violet in Boots Panda? I don't think so, Galmon. I don't think we would. The most I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do merch at this point and just kind of like support players where they don't really have something that is missing the void. I think a lot of like crossovers. I was really surprised at how successful this playmat was along with the Machinedramon mat because I'm going to do more crossover themed playmats because they're just really cool. And I have a few in mind right now with the artist, and we'll be getting those shortly. Man, trust me, I was in pain. Okay, so this is where we were introduced to these new rookies, these level 3s that literally said start of main, do this, and I was kind of like, these are busted. So like this Agumon literally was just like, hey Ty, what's up? I see you there. You wanna make me Greymon? And then boom, you're Greymon. Patamon was just like, hey, start of main. Check your security, find the yellow vaccine. I'm gonna get bigger, and we're gonna recover and trigger my effect. Rest in peace, TK, for being limited to 1. You died for Magnamon X's sins. I will live on that hill with several people. Digi-Police, really fun archetype, still not good, but I really want it to be better. Only so I can say that option card as many times as possible, because every time I'm at an event commentating, I am waiting. I want to say the Metropolitan Police Department, Community Safety Bureau, Cybercrimes Division, Investigation, Unit 11, Digimon Crime Response Team, every time. We had one instance on stream where that actually happened, where we hit the option card, it revealed the option card, and I was like, let's go, I'm ready for this. I am so ready for this. Quill, hello, hope you're doing well, sir. Hope you're doing well. Fenrir Lucamon, still a really fun deck. If you haven't tried it out, I suggest it. It should be cheap right now, actually, and honestly, it's probably one of the next deck profiles I'm covering again, because I miss it, and yeah. Gotta love these English exclusive Metal Greymon Aces! Yeah! Exclusive English only release! So good! I'm not salty, you're salty. Oh, look, more English releases! Exclusive! Yeah, no, we won't talk about that. Moving into EX5, we actually hit the Sun and Moon archetype. This is where we started seeing, you know, even though we had that soft reboot, we had less archetype, like tribal-esque kind of deals, because I think the big thing was, like, you wanted to play Agumon, right? And Agumon was, like, red and black. And now you were like, oh, I have these trainings, but you can't play black Greymon cards with Agumon. You can't use the BT12 Taikamiya because it's black, and searching for it is a pain in the butt with this Agumon. Which is weird, because traditionally, it seemed like they were making red Agumon the adventure reboot Agumon, and then black Agumon support the OG Adventure support cards. And yeah. What happened to them being English exclusive? Did I miss something? Yeah, they aren't exactly English exclusives. I think they were printed in the Chinese art. And yeah, let's just say that they use the same arts for this in the Chinese release. So they aren't really exclusive anymore. Yeah. EX5. This was a weird set for me because I hadn't played Dawn and Dusk, so I didn't really have a personal connection to Coronamon and Lunamon. Also, for Sovereigns, as much as I love Tamers, still didn't care for the archetype. The Metal Garurumon X, I was kind of like, it's cool, but like, I like going burr and kind of like, you know, just smacking insecurity repeatedly, you know, going as fast as I can. This one didn't do that. It was more of control, and I think that was okay. And then Leomon, Leopardmon X, still didn't care. So like, EX5 was one of the sets where I was kind of like, the only thing I like is Anubis, Levia, and Protoform. I don't care about anything else. I was really happy with opening my own Protoforms. But outside of that, like, man, this set was like, you either opened the luck or you just got nothing. Some people have already seen this, so this is the Crest SP lineup between BT14 and BT15. So they basically reprinted the BT14 cards in this set as SP rares. So this was the first set that had 8 different SP rares in the set. And I'm gonna tell you right now, with BT15 as a set, it is still one of in my opinion, one of the worst sets ever made in the card game. Because not only did it have the support cards for BT15, and it had the SP cards, but it also added the LM cards that we were missing. So it diluted the card pool, and then they were like, we want you to buy this. And I was kind of like, oh, I'm gonna buy it anyway, but I hate this, I hate myself. And collecting 4 of each of these was probably the biggest pain in the ass that I've ever experienced in the card game. More painful than like the amount of SPs that I'm missing right now. This was stupidly painful for me in that trying to find like one seller for like all these was hard, because inevitably you'd be like, hey, you got this, and you know you'd have to like go through and try to pick them all up at different times. The first one that I prioritized though, the Angelomon Aces, I immediately picked up all these. I was like, I'm gonna get all 4 of these first. I know how thirsty people are in this card game. I know people are gonna pick this up and then they're gonna sit on it forever. And I will never find these again in the public. So I picked up my 4 at like 300 or 400 a copy, and I've never looked back. I literally picked them up and was like, I don't care about the others. I just want these 4 to like start the entire thing so I can be safe. It was such a pain. BT15, arguably one of my like pain in the ass sets ever. We're going into like the regular alt arts now. We kind of had that transition point between BT14 and BT15 right here. So you have, you know, the first half, second half, and then of course you have BT15. BT15 was also a struggle to collect. The Godomons were a pain to collect. The Angelomon Aces were a pain to collect. And yeah, outside of that, I didn't care about anything else in this set. Because, you know, Apoclymon was like, ooh, big bad Apoclymon. And then he was limited to 1. So it was kind of like, okay, I don't really care. Let's see. I haven't caught up on chat for a little bit, so let's see what's going on. If only Deva, Sovereign's Fenglong ended up as busted as the rest of EX5. Demon back 4. I thought Sovereigns were good. That's disappointing to hear. I love them from Digimon World DS and was considering as my second deck. It's not terrible. I think the big thing that players wanted to do with it is that, and the big problem is that with Sovereigns, you want to use that option card, the white one, but it doesn't ignore color requirements. So people were using Mother Reaper as kind of the color choice egg as a way to get that white option. And once EX7 dropped, that's when Shoto Kazuma came in, made everybody a blocker, and you know, it was like, oh yeah, it's cool, like we can make Mother an immune blocker, and you know, it's fine. And it wasn't fine, because then Bandai choice restricted that, and now, you know, Sovereigns don't really have anything as a way to, like, stand, in a way. Yeah, this binder is notably a little bit more bare than the other. This is the last completed binder, though. So up to BT15, I am for sure completed. Now I have to go dig for the other one, because this one's incomplete. Give me a sec. I'll be right back. Ugh. This should be the BT16 binder. No, this is not the BT16 binder. I was wrong. Yeah. Is this the BT16 binder? No, this is not the... Oh my god, so many binders! I know for sure it's not that binder. I know for sure. I know 100% sure it's not that binder. Okay. Okay, now we're in BT16. BT16 is where, you know, we had a lot of issues too. Because the moment we get past the eggs, we're kind of like Valkyriemon Ace, fine. Pyeldramons were kind of a pain. Like, no joke. People were like, I think this is still a hard card to find. Like, the fact that it's like a $40 SR is still crazy to me. I think it's 40 maybe? But like, the problem with Imperialdramon right now is if we get new release support, it's gonna go up again, and I'm just scared that Dual Heart's gonna make that a reality. Tyrant Kabuterimon was honestly really fun for a little bit when it was kind of there. And then, the Ukos. The Ukos were the ones that everybody, they wanted that card. But following BT16 is where, like, you went back to, like, the washed out cards. This is what was blinding for me, like, trying to collect these. I'm gonna show these to you. So you had Fighter Mode Ace, right? You can barely see and read the text. And I think this is where, for SP rares, some players love how SPs are done, and some players don't like how SPs are done. To be fair, though, I really like how Bandai was like, we're gonna make face cards. We have Magnamon X, we have Beelstarmon X, we have Omnimon X, we have Gallantmon X, and now the newest one, Mastamon. Oh wow, that's the first one that's not X antibody trait. That's kind of funny actually to think about. Pyeldramon from BT16 normal art is still like $30. See, that's a crazy thing to me. But yeah, like, I'm not a fan of like these as SP rares, because like you can barely read them. It is a pain to read them. And then of course we get to EX6. So like, looking at how the card art has changed, how the chase cards have been like non-existent to being present to like being pretty ugly and ridiculous. So EX6 is the first set where I will not have a complete playset of everything. This is where I kind of fell off in terms of collecting, because there's just too much going on at this point. After I catch up to BT21, as you can see here, missing Starfleetmon Aces, Ragnarlordmon Aces. We got some of the other ones, though. We got kind of the more pricey ones. EX6 is very close to being completed. We get to BT17. BT17 is also another one that's really close to being completed here. The big thing that I like about this set in particular is that this is the one set that introduces not just one printing for an SP, but like two. People really don't like this card because it's also blinding to them in some ways. I don't know. So for some people, they really like the card art. I'm pretty sure Antics, if Antics were in the call right now, he would be like, oh, this is one of my babies. I love my babies. But like, I just don't like how blinding it is. For me, on a personal level, anyway. And it's also unfortunate that Takamika kind of just got shot for... It's not playable as much as Fenrir at this point. We kind of jumped back also to these like washed out type of SPs here, as you can see. So you got the Kool-Aid, I like to call it Kool-Aid Gallantmon Crimson Mode. These were really hard to find as well, along with the Burst Mode Ace. I'm currently missing one Burst Mode Ace, one Omnimon Ace. Unfortunate, these also went up because of the fact that we had the Nokia CS deck. So these were at a time like 400, 500, and now they're probably about, I think they're like 800, 850. I think the Omnimon and the Paladin mode one are my favorite, just because of the way like they look. Yeah, I will say that they do look a lot better in person. than they do in like on a webcam. But this is just something that I wanted to share my experiences of collecting over the last 5 years, because I know a lot of players don't necessarily get to see all these types of cards. And at the same time, I think it's really cool to kind of like preserve history for the Digimon card game. I don't necessarily have the best webcam setup, by the way, so like you might be seeing a lot of glare. You might be like, oh, this guy's entire setup is buns, and I apologize. Like I don't make streaming my full-time gig is the thing. So once we finish BT16, BT17, I'm gonna put that binder back now in the chronological order it should have been. We jump to EX7. I think this is right. So yeah, EX7. We got the Hexablaus, the Sendrils, the Taros. Everything is just crazy in this set. Like, I think a lot of players really enjoyed Liberator, and this was another short printed set. The Lilithmon X antibodies recently just skyrocketed for whatever reason. I will admit, this art is super pretty. Like, I will not deny that the art for this is super pretty. And I'm a fan of, like I said, the art in this game. The lowest listing on the Crimson Mode SP is 5K. But no one's gonna buy that. No one's gonna buy that. Ain't no one got time for that. I think I finished up my Beelstarmon X. It's currently in the mail. But this is the next face card that everybody wanted to collect. I know a lot of people who picked up like 4 of these the first week at like 800 a piece, and now I think they're currently 350, 400 if I'm not mistaken. But it was one of the big things that personally I was gonna wait. And as you can see, like, this set is empty for me. Like, I haven't collected jack from this set. BT18 was where we jump ahead. We go back to the dual arts that we haven't seen since like BT4. That was the cool thing here. I really like that we got this. And then, yep, this is where we get the human and beast spirits. So I kind of try to combine it so that one row is all the ice, one row is all the wind, one row is all the thunder. And it's just crazy that, like, you know, everything kind of like connected well. I had this like a villain page, but this is like my next, like, I don't want to do anymore. Like, the Dynasmon Ace is cheap at least, but like some of the other ones are just up there. Imons I think went down to like 54 times, and the Gallantmon Crimson modes, the gold ones, I think they were like 70 for a time, and I think they're back over like 100 or 150 now. I'm not quite sure, but like I think it's because the stock of 2.0 is lower now, that it's becoming harder to find, so the cards from that set are going up, interestingly enough. And so moving into EX8, I honestly think that out of all the side sets I've opened, EX8 is the strongest one. When you opened it, you were probably going to get something good. Like Medievals, Gallant X's, like these were like very playable. You could play these in Galaxy, you could play them in Gallantmon. Medievals go pretty much anything. And then of course the next face card, Gallantmon X Antibody. This is the big thing here that, you know, players were really excited to like pick up or try to get. I'm a huge fan. I think out of all the face cards that I've gotten so far, I think the Gallantmon X and Omni X are my favorites. And yeah, again, pretty bare when it comes to the SPs of this set. I jumped towards the medieval Gallantmons immediately, and then was like, we're not going back. We need those 4 medieval Gallantmons, and after that, I don't care. Let's see. And then yeah, this is 2.0 at this point. I think 2.0 is probably one of the weaker sets as well, just because like it had all this old support with tamers that didn't really jive at that point, and it was just underpowered and underwhelming to a degree. Especially with Luminamon Nene version, like players hated opening this card. If you opened this, I think the secrets at the time with Luminamon Nene version in 2.5 were, I want to say it was between Omni X, Luminamon, and Zephagamon Ace. Those were the big ones. And I think that was really hard for a lot of players because Omni X was like money, and then it was like $5. I think briefly we had the starters here, so I'm missing a lot. Am I missing a binder? I might be missing a binder somewhere. because we just no, we're in 20. 20's right. I went ahead and printed off these just because I did some custom work on this. I basically removed all the text on this myself. But now at this point you can use generative AI to do it, and it would probably look 1,000 times better than what I did. But that was a lot of patience. It was a lot of learning as well, because honestly it took a lot of time for that. This is where Ghost first showed up, Invisimon, GX. I don't have a lot of these SPs either. Like, these Violets, by the way, I was looking at for rares to like kind of make cores for players the other week, and I have literally 0 Violet in bootses in this house. I don't know how. Like, I have 0 left to give to people, and I was kind of like, man, I would love to like help new players get in the game. Omni X, of course, big hit. I think this is one that needs to get reprinted ASAP, and I think it will probably get reprinted in March. That's the big one that a lot of players, you know, want to use. That's the big thing. We're not even at the big stuff yet. Like, this is just like this is some of the smaller odds and ends of my collection here, because I'm saving the red binder for last, which is all the event stuff that I've been picking up over time. But yeah, BT21, this is where we also had a lot of super rare tamers for the first time. I personally am not a fan of having super rare tamers in the set, because it kind of takes away from the overall experience of, you know, opening Digimon, and it also takes away from the fact that, you know, a tamer is good support for Digimon, but ultimately what wins the game is going to be the Digimon itself, not the tamer. It's a mixed argument, and yeah. Other than that, like, we had the box toppers here. This is where all the the SPs for BT20 are going to go. Funny enough, I only have the Gaiamon. Everything else is like the signature card before we get to EX9, where I have the Machine Dramon and then the Metal Gray. And then everything after that is where I'm kind of like, I'm waiting. EX9, still waiting. EX9 was one of those interesting sets too, where it was hit or miss for me, where, you know, you kind of opened what you wanted and what you needed, but at the same time, it wasn't necessarily everything that you wanted. And that basically concludes it, because we're going to just briefly look over at these SPs. I did manage to, and this is where I've changed up my structure from doing 4 of every SPs to just 1. And we got our 1 of each for BT21, or 22, and at that point, I'm kind of like, okay, cool, we're done. So that was 21. 22, I'm in the midst of like getting completed right now. Let me see how much is in that binder. Let's see here. This should be the last binder, and then after that I'll probably be doing some, as I mentioned before, some house cleaning on literally, if I could rotate this camera up here, I would, but I don't want to ruin the view. But like, I got boxes here, I got piles behind me. Long story short, like I said, it's basically just trying to get stuff put away, because stuff just kind of sits. I am missing a Gamamon. I'm so mad. And then we're missing a lot from 24 is the other thing, or 23. 23 is the newest set, as you know. We got 0 SPs. I bought this off of Zero from Huang Zero's team. Thank you so much for that, because I really wanted to get that covered before something stupid happened with it. And we're still missing 1 of every secret, it's rough. And then I think we started moving these in as well, but I need to redo the binder because I forgot to make room for these SPs in EX9. So all this needs to shift. So that basically covers, as I mentioned, my collection in the Digimon card game up to BT23. But wait, there's more. All right. You might be wondering what's in this red binder I have here. This is probably my more expensive binder, along with what's in this box. A lot of players compete in the Digimon card game. And I told myself when I first started playing the card game that I would collect 4 of everything. Hold up a second, I'll be right back.
She's out. She fell asleep eating, so I didn't want to bring her out when we were talking.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. My child, no, my wife was going to bring the child in, and I was going to give her, you know, kisses, hugs, good nights. She passed out while eating, so she's asleep. Let's go. Okay, but the red binder. The red binder is probably my most prized like possession here, because you might be like, okay, it's a blank page. Why does it matter? It's this. This is what is really the moneymaker of like my collection. Number one, old Evo cups back in the day were very low in supply. For example, and I have to open up this spreadsheet real quick. For example, this War Greymon from Evo Cup. This one right here. It's the starter deck War Greymon that gives you an extra security attack for every 2 sources in the stack. But there are only 72 of these in existence. Only 72. So the fact that I have 4 of these is crazy in itself alone, because it's kind of like opening, like the serial cards that we have, for example, the War Greymon, the Metal Garurumon, and the Omnimon. There are, I think, limited quantities of those at like 300. There are only 72 of these in existence, the War Greymons. So theoretically, these should be worth more than that. But this is my Evo Cup Ultimate Cup binder, because I collect all the event packs that you get with them, which isn't really anything to really like care about. But once you get to a certain point, because that's volume 1, volume 2 is right here. Volume 3 is where things get a little crazy. This is my volume 2 stuff. This is 2022 Ultimate Cup. The VMons, there were about 2,922 of them in existence. X VMon, there's about 1,440 of them. Sorry, the VMons, there's 2,922. The XVs, there are about 1,440. Pyeel Dramons, there are about 736 according to the wiki article. And then the Imperial Dramon fighter modes are at 184. The Omnimon is at 46, and the Paladin mode is at 23. Those are the ones that are sealed away in the box, which I'll show off momentarily. We move on to the next event packs. We got, you know, the next event pack, I think 3 here? 4? I can't remember at this point. But basically we keep going, and then we hit the Galantmon stuff. We hit, I didn't look up the exact numbers for this one, but like, I have all these in their original plastic still. So these are all sealed in their original, like, everything. And this is probably like my favorite part of the collection, for the fact that these were really fun to like collect, pick up, and purchase from people. I know a lot of players are kind of wanting this War Groundmon now for like their decks for max rarity. A lot of players love to max rarity their decks, and I don't disagree with it, because at the same time, like, it's really fun. It's really nice showing off the bling too. I think it's funny that a lot of these have been reprinted or are no longer really in use as much either anymore. And I think this actually takes us to all the way to the hybrids, yeah. So I haven't put a sleeve here to kind of denote that, but this is where you got the Emperor Greymon. I'm gonna pull this one out. As you can see, the Emperor Greymon. I really like these arts. Like, these are by far some of my favorite arts that are done for the Digimon card game. But I'm not gonna play them. No one's ever gonna make me play these. And then we're... But the box is what I'm sure everyone is interested in, because this has some of the rarest cards in my entire collection. Like, you thought the War Greymons were expensive? These are also pretty expensive. So, we'll go ahead and do a little bit of a show and tell here on the stories for some of them. I'm going to go ahead and actually... I need to move some of these around. No. That's ultimate. Ultimate. Wait. Huh. My Evo Cup isn't in here. Is it in here? Yeah, it's in here. Okay, cool. I had one more. Okay. So the first card is, of course, the Evo Cup Omnimon. PSA 10. One of my... Yeah, I got slabs, I know. PSA, don't get slabs. Don't grade Digimon. I learned after year 2, it is not worth it. Don't do it. But I did it for like some of the first stuff that I have. So PSA 10 Omnimon is one of the first ones that I got. There aren't many of these in circulation. As I mentioned, there are only 52 Evo Cup Omnimons in existence. And the fact that this is a PSA 10 could make it worth something. I don't know. And then following that, we also have a PSA 9 Lilithmon Gold Stamp winner. I believe this is from, oh god, what was it? It's from Card Fest, but I think it was, it's like a Grand Prix or something like that, I want to say. But yeah, like, this just reused the old art of the Lilithmon, and that's where, you know, fun times. Then, of course, we got ourselves a PSA 9 Ultimate Cup Omni. This is slightly different in that from the original Omni, you have a completely extended white border all the way through, none of that blue stuff on the borders. So it's just a different art slightly, but stamped with Ultimate versus Evo. So that's where it was a little different, just enough. This is why I don't get PSA graded anything anymore. Imperial Digimon Paladin mode. This is the winning championship card. There are only 23 of these in existence according to the wiki. Take that with a grain of salt, mind you. And the fact that this got a PSA 10, at the time the card was valued at like 4 or 5 grand, but someone sold it for like $1,500 on eBay or like something cheap as hell basically. And I had to pay an upcharge for this. And then I know someone who actually got one as well graded a 10, and they did not get upcharged because they got it graded after the guy sold it for like $1,500. Versus when I got it graded, nobody had sold it yet, so it was valued as high. Needless to say, I was mad about that upcharge afterwards, and we're not grading cards anymore. And then the last card, this is one of the rarest cards I have in my possession. So this is the World's Participant Omnimon Alteress. There are not a lot of these in circulation. I believe in total there's less than 20. And that's why this is one of the big ones for me in that I've seen some people like want to buy it for like 500. I could not even value it at that because of the fact that someone might have sold theirs for 500 or 550, but at the same time, like, I know how many are in existence, and at only a population of 20, that's a hard sell for me. Really hard sell. So outside of these slabs, I'm gonna put this back now. It has been a while since I've opened these slabs, by the way. But overall, like, it's one of the biggest things about my collection that I'm proud of, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't change a lot of my collection at this point unless, like, I really needed money for the kid. Like, if something changed all of a sudden, I would probably move a lot of my collection to, like, help her. So we got another Ultimate Cup Imperial Digimon Paladin mode. Funny enough, this is actually the same first place Paladin mode for the fact that someone was shipped this as their replacement prize for second place, and they got a first place one instead. So we need to get that rectified at some point. In the meantime, we also got ourselves a... Oh crap, it's been a while since I've looked at these, like I said. I think this is the champion one, because it has the border. Oh my god. Yeah. So this is the champion, I believe. And then this is the next year after that. Bandai did this thing where, like, they took the same art and then just made it full border as the second place prize. Because that's how we get Susanomon. Maybe I'm mixing this up. I forget. It's been a while. I'll have to redo this later. But yeah, Susanomon as, like, another one. And then... is that right? what? I think I had it right the first time. Because then the next one is Shine-Greymon Burst. So this is the only copy I have. I never took it out of the thing. I don't even remember who I picked this up from. I want to say Martin Lee was the person who I picked this up from. So yeah, we got ourselves the Shine-Greymon Burst mode. So many foils. But overall, like, this is where, as a collector, it was really fun, like, trying to get all these. My number for my Serial Omni is probably like number 300 something. It's something like crazy, something that I would like write home about. And then we picked up the War Greymon, a Black War Greymon. This is the champion Black War Greymon, along with a champion Yozamon Blast Mode. And yeah, like these were like kind of the harder ones to get to, because there weren't that many going around at the time. But my pride and joy at this point is probably going to be number 99 War Greymon, number 99 Metal Garurumon, and then when you add them all up, you get 198 Omnimon. So I think it's funny that this worked out math-wise in the end. So yeah, like in the end, like this is where we got them both. We got all three. So like this is the last time I basically picked up cards in a while. I haven't really picked up anything else. Just like I said, either been busy or kind of just redoing my finances for, you know, the family at this point, and doing less Digimon and more trying to either upkeep the house or improvements to it. You get the gist of it. But that's my Digimon adventure in the last 5 years. I don't know, like, what do you guys think about that? What you guys thought about it in general? Because everything at this point is more so just ask me anything. How much were each? If you wanted to ask, I think the War Grey was, I think it was 800. The Meta Garurumon was 700, and the Omni was, I think it was 850 for the Omni. Yeah, I think the Serial War Grey was 800. The Serial Melgo was 750. And the Serial Omni was 800, 850, somewhere around there. So, at this point, we are going to be transitioning from doing a collection to kind of just upkeeping. Like I said, I got piles of cards, so my goal right now is to, number one, redo this binder, because this binder has a lot of stuff in it that needs to be fixed. You'll see shortly what I mean by that. I need to pull out these cards. Shoutouts to EagleX, ATX Gaming, by the way. If you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, I'll probably leave a link of that in the description of this video later, but if you haven't, great friend, has helped me out loads of times when it comes to collecting. As you can see here, oops, wrong binder. Where did I put that purple binder? Ah, crap, it's under there? No! Alright, I'm gonna need a moment. I don't know if we get that price anymore, Magnum Wing X. That's the other issue. Because a lot of people aren't really moving theirs now at, like, reasonable prices. Alright. This would be on the binder. I'm pretty sure this is the binder I need anyway, so... I need a moment. Get rid of this here. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the binder. Like I said, it gets confusing as hell. The cheapest work rate is 1.1k US now. I'm not surprised, to be honest. Alright, this should be the binder. Yes, this is the binder. Alright, so I gotta pull these all out. Because you guys are also going to see a glimpse of what I do for collection purposes. So we are going to be, and like I said, you can literally ask me anything at this point, because I'm just chilling. I'm gonna use streaming as kind of a way to like try to make sure I'm doing things to upkeep my collection, keep things clean, and at the same time, you know, talk about whatever. Because I know at this point, a lot of players are kind of like, oh, it's just Hoodiemon in the format right now. I'm not gonna lie, I found 2 decks so far that I'm like, this is stupid OTK potential. And unless I hit a security bomb, I don't care. That's how dead serious I am right now. I don't think Hoodiemon is gonna bother me right now. Is the thing with some of the decks I've been playtesting. So, but yeah, you might be wondering why I'm de-sleeving this binder. The answer is quite simple. Foil, limited foil, common and commons of all the cards, I have recently picked them all up. So now, I can make the binder pretty. Because literally what I'll do is, a lot of our EX binders are like this now, where when you open up a binder, you're going to find all the limited foil common and uncommon cards. Oh no, I'm missing a Toko? No, I'm missing a Toko somewhere. It's stuck somewhere? This is too. I knew it. I knew it. I almost panicked for nothing. But yeah, when you open up a binder for any of my EX sets that have like limited common and common cards, this is where you're going to find literally foil common and commons, all the rares, and all the super rares together. Then you'll find all the common and commons that are like normally in the back. Sorry, the foil common and the non-foil common and commons in the back of the binder. So it's kind of like, again, a record to like keep it all in one spot. Which card would you like to get next? I have eyes on blue BT13 Genku. Wait, BT13 Genku? Honestly, I'd like to get my Mastamons figured out. I don't want to deal with Mastamon anymore. I know that Mastamon has a lot of like a lot of people who really want it. And don't get me wrong, like CS Mastamon is doing work right now, but I also don't think like the meta can handle regular Mass. I think regular Mass is too slow, but there's still not enough data to like show that is the thing. I didn't know we had a BT13 blue Genko? Huh. Also, my light is really funky. Let's see if I can fix my light real quick. Yeah, I think that helped. No, that ain't a cat. But yeah. Overall, I think the Digimon card game has gotten to an interesting place. And I know a lot of players right now are kind of like, you know, waiting. They're in the waiting room for something specific. I myself am just kind of playtesting whatever. I found, like I said, one deck that I was really surprised at how effective it was, even though, like I said, looked on YouTube, did not see any players with an identical list to it. So at that point, I was kind of like, am I doing something wrong here? Am I just crazy? Is this something that I didn't anticipate, like, being a thing? And then the next thing that I'll do after this binder, because once I finish this binder, I'm going to go through a lot of my super rares and kind of start looking through like what's kind of antiquated, what needs to like move to like a different location at this point, and that's what we have a box for. So I'll also be moving around a little bit while trying to get some of these cards sorted and out the door. I would like to try to build more cores for newer players, because I know a lot of people love playing Digimon, but I think pricing or like trying to figure out like what works best for them is another thing. But no. And for some players, like, they might just be, like, done with Digimon. Like, they just don't have the time for it. I know for me, like, there are times where I feel like I don't have enough motivation to get something done. And it's usually just because, you know, work is long and I don't really want to do anything with content. The YouTube algorithm can be very unforgiving, though, if, like, you're not uploading daily or twice a day at least, or twice a week even. So it's kind of like spacing out, like, what do I think is going to work? So like I said, this is mostly just me rambling, venting. You ask me questions too if there's something that you want to know more about my adventure in the Digimon card game. What characters do I want to see supported? There's so much. So much uncommon yellows. And yes, I do perfect sleep everything. What next? I've heard that Time Stranger has been doing well in regards to like sales, overall gameplay, and I've heard Beat Break is doing well as well for the show. I do feel like some players, or people, however you want to call it, do we not have like okay sheets? Found it. Kokeshimon. Also, they just revealed the card for Owen Dreadnought. I forget the name of it. Oh, that Gankumon. Yeah, I'm never touching that. I don't touch. Okay. I will never touch the champion cards. That is like a for sure thing. Because of the fact that they have such a low population that their price point is even worse than certain cards. Like I think those are like the Worlds or like Card Fest ones, right? The national ones. I've never touched those. Huh? I have extras. Lol. Yeah, that's the big one. Where is my Goon? How? Okay, so I just have to put it in the wrong spot. But yeah, like I said, I know for like this part, a lot of players might not be as interested in what I'm doing. But like I said, if you want to ask me something about Digimon, future content, kind of like the next ideas I have in the pipeline for like merch, ask away. Yeah, well, that's the thing. The Gankumon is just too hard for me to find. I know players who have it, but I think their ask is like 5K, and that's just something that I'm like, I don't have necessarily a like whatchamacallit. Gankumon isn't like my diehard favorite card. So for me, I can't justify getting it. Now if it was like a War Greymon, I might do it. Because I think when they first revealed the serials, if I could get number 1 War Grey and Melga, I would do it. I would legitimately do it. But the Melga player who got 1 wasn't selling. And then the War Grey was being sold at the time. The offer went up to like 3.5K from what I heard. So at that point, it was kind of like, if there's no guarantee that I'll get the Melga, I'm not going to try to get the War Gray. So that's ultimately why I passed on it. Okay, just to go here. What the heck? Oh, these are my other one. Huh, another extra. Parasaur. Man, I have extras of some of these. It's so funny. I thought I didn't have extras. I also had picked up like extra boxes here and there, and that's why I have extra copies. But I gone ahead and picked up some of the ones that I needed. God, is everything here one? No, this whole page, these 2 pages are one too. That's so funny. It was a real shame. I couldn't figure out a way to use the Sukamon in the deck for the Metal Edamon deck for Suka Control. I see that you're a collector, but do you play casually? If so, do you have a current favorite deck? So I don't play competitively, mainly because I do more commentary work typically than what you'd see me actually playing competitively. The last time I played competitively was BT6. It was actually funny because I actually remember the date. It was literally September 29th, 2022. Number one, it was my anniversary with my wife, and at that point, she had gotten 2 losses already. She was 0-3 in her matches, and I was 2-1. And I was like, I don't know, like, I don't think I'm going to play anymore, because I was playing Security Control, and I felt really gross. That was legitimately the first time I felt gross playing a deck in Digimon, because my opponent couldn't really do anything, and I was just basically trolling. I would say Security Control is the ultimate troll deck, if you really want to call it that. But as of right now, I'm working on a Mother Control deck. Mother Control. I know we can't use Shoto Cosm anymore, but there are other ways that we can do it, is the thing. So I'm currently working on that. I think I have a list finalized, and I'll probably be debuting that list either Monday or in the next week. Because I'm going to do probably a different list tomorrow. No, Friday. The list I have for Friday is probably going to be Fenrir Lugamon, because I think I found something that really worked. And I was surprised that it did. And at the same time, I'm surprised no one else is playing it. Maybe the version I'm playing is just too much of a glass cannon. But I felt it was really good at recovering and could even like go off during a scramble. That's what I thought was really impressive about it. So I'll talk about the combos like I mentioned earlier, and then we'll hopefully enjoy that profile, because like I said, it's really fun. But yeah, I just like to stream a little bit because I want to, kind of still be involved with the community as much as I can, chat about stuff, talk about whatever, really, for the most part, and then check out what players are excited for, because I know BT23 is our last release for the year besides Amethyst Mandala, and they've already revealed a lot of cards that, the deck itself is looking like it's going to shape up pretty well. here. Hoodiemon is going to be a menace for a while. Yeah, I like looking at a lot of the event results. I think that is true. It's basically, can you be fast enough to kill your opponent? That's the big question. And one of the decks that I've been playtesting, it can legitimately kill on turn 2. It can. But it just also depends on how much memory your opponent's giving. Because if your opponent gives you a crap ton of memory, I think a lot of decks can kill on turn 2. But in that case. But of course, there's certain combos that you need to like build into that, you know, so. So once all is said and done, this is what my binder looks like for EX 8 or 9. EX 9. So you have, I'll move that in a moment. So you have the binder showing all the foil cards, all foils, everything is a foil card basically. That's why it looks so pretty. And now that I've laid all that out, I go to the end and start taking this pile here. And filling this part now. So at the end of these binders, I do the full playset of the rest of the cards. So basically you have a playset of everything. And whenever you open a binder, you basically see the history all right there. My wife would probably shoot me right now because she'd be like, I can do this for you. But yeah, the thing about Hoodiemon is if you can somehow mass DP wipe the board, it prevents them from utilizing their extra bodies. If you can prevent their Tamer's on-play effects from triggering, that's another thing. Eosmon surprisingly has a funny matchup against Hoodiemon, because if you have Eosmon and the BT-17 Manoa Bellucci down, it prevents your Tamer's on-play effects from triggering, which means you can't activate Chitose Imai in that case, because on-play effect, you can't play Digimon now, which means you lose your alliance targets, which means your Hoodiemon's for the most part alone. There's a lot of cathartic release for like sorting, because you're putting something together, it looks really nice, and ultimately it's consolidation. I know I went on this big rant in one of my earlier videos about how Bandai's doing consolidation. They're trying to, you know, make it archetypal or whatever, and we go from archetypal to trait, and now trait's like, hey, like you can really do anything. And I'm gonna tell you right now, with CS, you can literally do anything. I've been thinking a lot about different decks. Diaboromon, I was playtesting Diaboromon with my Omnimon deck. I think I have 3-4 different deck profiles like in mind right now. 2 of them are really fun, and then one of them is like, whoa, that is ridiculous. And if someone tops with it, I'm gonna be like, cool. Someone just stole my idea. But no, I really appreciate everyone kind of sticking with me today, because I know that this isn't your conventional stream where like, oh, you watch me open boxes, and I'm opening packs, and I open Dookie, and I'm going to record these numbers for another video later. No, this is just more of a like, I'm just chilling. Sometimes, if you're free and you want to chill, but like I said, if you haven't, go outside while you can, because I think today is the last day where you'll be able to see the Aurora Borealis outside. So grab your phone, set the exposure to high, and go outside and look up in like dark areas, because you might see some northern lights, and it's an experience. Like if you haven't ever experienced it before, I highly recommend it, because these are sometimes once in a lifetime opportunities for you, and I want you to take them when you can. Interestingly, like I've been out of the country several times, but I don't know a lot of people who've been out of the country multiple times. because, you know, when you live in the US, sometimes, you know, all you've ever known is either the small town you live in or maybe the state you live in. But once you go somewhere else, like, it is a brand new experience. Yeah. I'm in the Midwest, so, like, it is, like, I can see it clear as day right now. And if you're in, like, Canada, I know people in Ontario can't see it, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. But if you're also in the city, it's going to be also really hard to see it. So just keep that in mind, because, yeah. Because then I can bring this binder down and let the wife label it, because we'll be done with EX9. Yippee! It's all good. I think there's a sense of, you know, when I first had the kid, part of me legitimately thought that that would be the end of me doing Digimon and YouTube and stuff like that, and the wife has been really encouraging on that front to really keep me going. She knows that Digimon is something that I'm really passionate about, and she knows that, you know, without it, I don't know what I'd be doing, to be honest. There are times where I want to draw, but I just don't really feel like I have the time for it. Yeah, New York City is you're gonna have to go up pretty far if you're in New York, I think. But I think parts of it, oh yeah, no, you can't see it. I think like the entire Northeast is like, you can't see it at all. Because I looked at a map earlier and it looked like Maine, New York City, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania was pretty much blanketed in like red, so you couldn't see it there. But no, now that I have this like set up, I'm gonna try to do more like webcam games with people, because I know that's something that you probably want to see more of as well, gameplay. I don't do gameplay too often on the channel because for the most part, I'm usually, if I'm doing like quick tests on DCGO, I'll either play with a friend or two, but for the most part when I'm testing hands, I'm just doing it against a bot. And I think for me, a bot isn't necessarily memory efficient per se, but they are going to give me an idea of what potential combos I can do. And especially with how DCGO can automatically sequence your effects, it is extremely helpful to learn how to combo. Like I said, I've been picking up like cards to try to like get my collection done. And when it comes to like regular arts, I'm pretty much good on regular arts and like close to alt arts on everything. It's just the SP cards that I'm missing at this point. Be the next card protagonist, commentate and play the games with anime flair showing off the deck. I think it'd be really fun, don't get me wrong. I think for me, I'm leaning more towards a teaching style game where I kind of showcase, you know, a deck. I look at the hands and I demonstrate why, like, oh, this is a good hand, or we mulligan this. Like, no, we mulligan this. Like, toss this back. It's that bad. But I do miss, like, seeing card protagonists. I do miss seeing Rust Marrow. Those were two of my favorite Digimon content creators when I first started getting into the Digimon card game. And, you know, they've moved on to other endeavors at this point or are just, you know, super busy. And I think that one thing that really helps is that there are still Digimon creators today that do create content. I do miss seeing a lot of them still. I know Gaia Force Gaming's Tyler just had a kid recently, so him, Brian do work. Those are two content creators that I spoke with and worked with a little bit at times. and both have kids now. They haven't done any more content since, but I know for me, like, I'm probably one of the few content creators who had a kid, and I'm still going hard at this. Like, it's crazy to think about. Where's that other purple binder? There it is. Alright, let me see if I can finish this one too. Because I know we don't have the rares in here yet, I don't think. I think we're currently at just the limited common and commons. Unfortunately, some of my orders did get lost in the mail, so like, I'm waiting for 1 QB and like 2 other cards. But like, for the most part, I should have close to everything. I'm also waiting for all my BT23 pre-release cards, so hopefully soon we'll have those. Yeah, the rares aren't in here, so I'll have to be a little mindful of that. I know the Digimon is missing for sure. Black 4 Gray, nothing in here. These are all rares, I believe. 1 mirror. Rares. Sleeve. Rares. Yeah, I think one of the bigger ones is going to be after this. Oh yeah, the Landromons were the other 2 that I didn't get in the mail yet. 29. Dark Knight. Darn, you're missing Dark Knights too. Yeah, 2 orders that didn't come in ever, which kind of sucks. I'm not gonna lie, I still love playing Beelzemon. It's a harder deck to. Not the right spot. I turned the page and it was not the right spot. 37 right here. Luckily, I think the ones that I'm missing are the cheaper ones. So, that's a fact. Jack. What is 8? 40. It's also cathartic to see like playsets get completed as you turn the page. Alright, flying blind for a little bit. And yeah. But the next exercise I think will be important for some players, because like, when do you know a card is antiquated and you kind of don't like really need it anymore? I probably won't toss a lot of my super rares for the fact that if I wanted to build cores out of them, I can still build a core out of it for like newer players if they wanted to play the deck. Just as an example. I got the main thing that I wanted to do done. So that is it for really the binder work that I wanted to do on stream tonight. The next thing that I want to do is we have a box of antiquated super rares and secret rares. A lot of players will have a lot of like leftover cards that they don't really know what to do with. And I am no different. So we'll start off with mine. So I got one Chessmon left. I think it could be playable, so I'm going to leave it in the playable pile. Agrabons, I'm always going to leave in the playable pile, because I think it could be fun to play. Juchaomon, let's see, your opponent chooses one of their Digimon, delete all Digimon other than this Digimon and your opponent's chosen Digimon. For each Digimon deleted by this effect, gain 1 memory. When an opponent's Digimon is deleted, this Digimon gains secret attack +1 for the turn for each of your opponent's Digimon deleted. Unfortunately, Juchaomon, I think you're bad. Antiquated, bad. We're probably never going to ever play Juchaomon, ever. So we're going to go ahead and just start the pile of antiquated super rares. And I'm going to actually go grab a few boxes as I do this, so yeah. You'll see very shortly how bad this is going to be. Phoenixmon, when the card is removed from your opponent's security stack, you may activate one of this Digimon's on deletion effect. On deletion, you may play one Digimon card, red Digimon card with avian, bird, beast, animal, or sovereign other than sea animal, one of its traits, and 3,000 DP or less from your hand without paying the cost. For each red tamer you have in play, add 2,000 to the maximum DP of the card you can play by this effect. Honestly, I don't think it's bad. I'd use it. I think it's something that's playable for like a core. Juchaomon definitely was not playable as a core. Marsmon, when one of your Digimon's attack target switches, unsuspend this Digimon and gain 1 memory for each red tamer you have in play. Interesting. There's better options, but this is one of the few red Digimon I know of that can unsuspend itself, and I do want to do a piece for a video that's coming up in regards to what makes a deck competitive. So we'll probably leave that in the good pile as well. Metal Greymon Ace, no. Wargreymon Ace, I'll keep that. Shaomon Cross, Extra Cross 6, I think that's fine too. I'm gonna go get that other box now, because I know there's other Garbo super rares in there, so give me 1 second. I gotta move stuff around. We have some here. We have some baby here. Oh. Okay, so we have quite a bunch of SRs. Got more Justmon X's. We have a lot to go through, actually. Justmon X, I'd say is good. And a lot of players are going to be using that with the new Justmon, so definitely good. I have another pile over here, too. Alright. Found more Justmons and some Sylphimons. Some Imperial Digimon fighter modes, some GXs. I think all that's good. So I'll keep all that. This was so good stuff. I think you can definitely build a core out of like some of these. Why the hell is this here? I think you can definitely build some okay cores with Phoenixmon and also Marsmon if you want to get new players in the game. The only downside is players don't really know much about Phoenixmon or Marsmon. They'll more likely gravitate towards like Groundmon or like Justmon, just because they look cooler. Sylphie is another one that's a little iffy in terms of support. But overall, I would say these are okay. I'm not going to do the DX. Double cross. Nope. Alright. Alright. A Zulongmon. Nah. I think Gabumon is a lot harder to build a deck for. Why are my Ryugumons in here? That's so weird. I'll keep those for sure. The Weregarumon's also kind of eh. What's in here real quick? These are all pre-release cards, promos. If anybody knows anybody who needs the Terriers, hold on. The Terriers, the Pals, and the Hagurus. I have extra box toppers of these. I think they're pretty pricey right now because of Hoodie. I don't think all the Hoodie decks are running it. That was the thing. I think that's one difference here. So, the only other thing that I will do here is I'm going to go ahead and migrate some of this stuff here. So the Koros we keep, the Buko we keep, the Tokos we keep. Honestly, all these are great, so I'm gonna go ahead and not get rid of those. I feel bad because like I really like the Gomamon. The Gomamon's been really nice, but like it's not played as often. Zudomon Ace is also great blast fodder, so like I keep it. Like yellow, the Pandas are good. The Magna Ninjas are good. I would say Palmon's good. I don't like Lilymon Ace, to be honest. Yeah. I would probably not use Lilymon. So yellow here. Going back to the beginning again, we got BT4 Wargrey. Dynus is not good. Rostenmon is definitely not good. Maid mode is probably going to get power crept out, so we'll probably just antiquate that. Venus is good. I only have one copy though. Dynasmon Ace. I can't justify them. I think they're not great. You can build a core out of it, but the newer Dynasmon's probably better. What is in here again? Oh man. Oh man, you guys are gonna laugh at this. This BT4 Mirage. I have three ancient cars in here that I haven't used. That's hilarious. I mean the newer one's better still. Old Hexablow isn't also great either. It's a when attacking effect. Dragon mode. If I wanted to build Imperial Grimon cores, I could probably get away with using these, honestly. The Melga's good, the Old Force is good, but it has been reprinted. We also have Old Force X's. Yeah, I keep all this. So, yeah, probably that. 14? I think these would be good for like building cores if I needed to. This is green. Let's see what's bad about these cards. Alright, Grand Kuwaga is legit terrible. Lilamon's also terrible. Nidhogg is Digiburst, so we don't care about that. Ibanwamon is also pretty bad, so we don't talk about that one either. I feel bad for Shivamon. Yeah, no. No. No, we don't do Shivamon. I have a soft spot for Digimon, I'm gonna be honest. I think Digimon's funny. You can definitely build a budget deck with this. And considering there are more Blast Ace targets, I'm talking the Raidonmon, you can technically build a deck with this using Raidonmon as like another top end, which is really funny. Leopardmon, Leopard mode. No. Same with Argo. Kaze, I don't like these. I don't like the Rapid. I don't like the Lucia. Who's he here? I don't know why he's in the green pile. X at ace is weird. I'll make it work. So we'll probably do this. So the green pile is gonna be after 14 here. This is how much I don't like green in the Digimon card game. I think green is probably one of the worst colors to play in the game. Venus. So that's our green here. I'm gonna move my box toppers too. We don't want Tane. Daimimera is good. I don't think we use any of these, to be honest. Yeah. I just feel bad. From here. Like I said, antiquated. We'll come back later for those, you know, at some point we'll come off. We'll come back and get them. Yellow here also has this. Like I said, there's so many boxes to go through. Yellow War Gray, there's another Venus. Venus is good. Yellow War Gray is kind of funny because unless you can run like a yellow base, it's going to technically give you deeper reduction, but you're also dependent on getting there. Because Zuchi is too expensive. Magnamons are good, even though they've been reprinted. Rapidmons are also good. You technically can make a mean version of Magna X. Yeah, I think we're fine on that. Did I keep the Magnamons in here? I did not. Mid modes, go away. Well, that does mean you can technically make a budget version of it if you wanted to. Should put it here. I won't deal with that. Green here. So Grandis you can technically make decks out of because of the fact that Grandis can utilize the Grand Kuwagamon Ace, which isn't a super rare, it's a rare. So it's actually much easier to build a deck if you wanted to base it. So I think that's fine to keep. Oh man. Black War Greymon. Priorata. Oriumon's also pretty good. Gaio's good. Yanku X is definitely good. Dark Knight X is probably the one I pass on, to be honest. So we have Gaio, Black War Gray. Yeah, for this one I pass for sure. That was Dark Knight. I should really put that out for a second. Because we have a large pile of black cards here that we don't really know what we want to do with. Gokmamons, I missed the train to sell these because they were really like hyped pricing when we had the release of Rocks. Then we have Memes. Memes are terrible. The old Yanku isn't good. The Dorogoramon, the newer one's better. Oryus, again, are good for Alphamon decks, so having these in abundant supply isn't terrible. Baihu is terrible. There's the Dark Knight X. You can technically build a Dark Knight X deck on budget if you really wanted to. You could. Because most of your cards are rares, commons, and commons. You got the Dorumons, which aren't bad. Once we go... I don't think the Beetlemon's good. Justimon Aces might go up, Invisimons are good, our Yukin Aces are good. I did not realize I had that many still. Whoops. My Gaio goes there. Then we have all those Oryus. It's a good pile right there. Like, black has a lot of good potential here to play with. Purple is going to be an interesting one. I think Omnimon fall down mode's fine. Creepymon is a really cheap one. Ordinmon is also like cheap. Minervamon, Merva. I've actually built cores for that already, to be honest. What do I have here is the question. We got ourselves Dan Debbie. Those are terrible. Pluto, terrible. Skullcray, still bad. Taida, there's better options. Cherubi is updated. Malomyotismon is the BT8 one. There's still better options. Having on play and win Digimon just gives it more flexibility. The Dextoragora is something that you probably want to switch out for because there's the newer one that's better. Bagra Army. No, I'm never gonna build Bagra Army. I don't think I would. And then Lord Nightmon Ace, Heavy Metal Dramon Ace. The Takamika, I don't ever see it being played. I think that X1's fine though. So those are all the antiquated ones. We have some white cards back here too. Valderarm. Omni-X is also a bit antiquated. Armageddonmon, I don't feel great about either, and the Luminamon Nene version, we don't talk about that. We just don't talk about that. From the purple side of things on this box, we have three Lugas and one Fenry left. Those are good. We'll keep those in here in the pile. Angemons, I don't see them being played, but I'll add them to the mix of my other cards here, just because I know that they could be useful later. And then we'll move the Palmons back into the correct pile. Alright, we got some trainings. Plenty of trainings, minus purple. Ooh, the Megadramons, the Leviamons are good. Morpho's good too. Ah, crap. I forgot piles over here. Okay. The promos. This is someone else's stuff that they asked me to sell for them, so I'm not gonna combine that. Burst mode is pretty good. Tyrants are good. And then Commandramons are pretty good. I don't have a lot of these, unfortunately. And then, of course, we have Digipolice. We have one core left. 13, 14. This is EX5, but we'll tuck it in here for the time being. Anything that I need to worry about? There's nothing I have to worry about in there. This should be empty now. Yep. More yellow cards, some Lucimon Satan modes. There's another Tyrant. Let's see. Come on, pile. We got ourselves Tyrant Commentary here. Another pile. Oh man, we have so many Gankus. Can I build Ganku cores? Is the next question I have. I have so many Gankus. Good God. I guess we'll just include all these. These are all black. We have purple here. Mallow, Satan, Blast. And the white. Cool. think we are done with what I wanted to do today. Purple, yellow. Now it's just a matter of putting all this away. Oh, there's another tyrant. Don't you just love it when you sort all your piles and you're like, how are you in here? How did you get in here? What is going on here? Tyrant here. So now the question is, do I want to build cores? I really feel like building cores on stream would be good, valuable lessons for like new players when you get into the card game, because then you know kind of like what you want to build, or like how I kind of discern what I want to build for players. 16. We got some chimeras, that's pretty good. These paladin runs are gonna probably not like do anything. Let's see, whenever you don't do you may turn one more white level 7, you can put from the to the bottom deck. It cost like 4, so it goes through. Meh. Like I said, there's just some cards in this game where I'm like, why? Alright, these are omnimon, that's fine. These are all my DX cards. Hold up. Hold the phone, chat. Hold the phone. There's so many cards in here. Okay. So we've got some Aegis-Dramons, some Gold-Dramons, some Hydramons, a metallic Dramon that's randomly here. We got some promos. Yeah. Ooh, an ex-antibody. Ooh, a piece of candy. We'll keep that out. We'll definitely keep that out. Like I said, we got a Davis here. We gotta clean, man. We gotta clean all this up. This Izzy's not bad. I'll keep the Izzy's out. Some infectious spends. Pokemon isn't great. Blobmon's okay, but I'm not gonna take them. The Rapids are pretty good. And the Magnets are good. Just, like I said, consolidating everything into one box as much as possible. Magna Wing, thank you so much for joining the stream. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good night, and I hope you catch some of the lights beforehand. Let's see, we got Fireballs. Oh, nobody uses these right now. I don't think Hydro Nail will be good for a bit, so we'll go ahead and pack those up. Blinding Rays, you can never go wrong. Pride Memory Boost, Mist Memory Boost. Those have been printed quite a bit. I have another pile to go get now. Let's see. Found another Leviathan. That's where I have the Undertamers. The answer is no. Davises, 3 more Fizzies. We'll put these Kens away. Ken who? Extra little Fireballs Bias. T9, BT10. So many Gankus. It's BT11, this BT12. 12. 11. Why did I think Blackboard Greymon was... Okay. Do this. This Warcry goes into my red pile over here. Alright. And then yellow. Yellow for BT12. I only have one extra Shine Greymon. That's so sad. Alright. I think just put all this up and we'll call it a night. And I want to thank everyone again for tuning in today's stream just to check out the collection, see how the game has evolved all this time, and I hope you enjoyed it, because a lot of the time, like, I want to show off sometimes the collection, but at the same time, pulling it out feels like I'm risking something. It just feels risky. Let's see here. Box here. Okay, no there. Red. Blue. Yellow. Green. Black. Oh wow, black has so much here. Is this right? Yeah, this is all black. Holy crap. Purple. And that should be it. Let me do this. And then white. I'm at an angle because I think these are too big. Yeah, that is my super rares right there. We'll go ahead and just move this over here. What was this again? Oh, these are the bags. We'll put them here. Alright, so that takes care of our antiquated super rares. We've done a lot of cleaning. Like I said, if you guys could see the office and what it used to be to what it is now, it is crazy what has changed. So that is all that's going to be for tonight's stream. Thank you so much again for joining. I really appreciate it, everyone. And again, if you want to check out more of my merch or are interested in purchasing any of it, this is the Shadowborn Collector playmat featuring one of your favorite characters from Digimon Liberator, crossed over with solo leveling as our Genu son, Raising the Dead. Other than that, I hope you guys all have a great night. Like I said, if you haven't seen the Northern Lights yet outside, check it out. It might be a once-in-a-lifetime experience for you. And with that, I hope all of you have a great night. This is DIGI-PANDA,